obviously, the big story in the news today, of course, is the unfortunate events going on with Russia and Ukraine. Um, I said put a pin in that fundamental discussion, but before we move on to challenge number two, I want to just circle back around and get your thoughts on that. Um, Simon, what's your outlook for the effect of the war on the markets?
Yeah, I mean it's a tricky one. I mean it's not. I mean I guess the degree of aggression that's been shown over the past 24 hours is quite a surprise. And of course you've got the ancillary fallout of the energy prices. We're not talking about energy today, but of course that affects a lot of stocks, from everything from airlines who have to buy oil to energy companies.
Absolutely.
Russia's obviously got a very significant global hold on oil and gas, and then of course we're going to be doing retaliatory sanctions that haven't been fully announced yet. So it's just everyone loses type situation, as often is with the horrors of war or potential war as well. But it's a really tricky one, because at the same time the markets are outrageously resilient, and we've seen that time and time again. I mean, let's look at the Nasdaq on a sort of monthly time frame, and every time, I mean, this is more of a rollover, but certainly since the pandemic, the Nasdaq has just been the old. I've got a sad face on for the S&P. That'll make sense in a moment. But that's actually on top of the S&P now, so hopefully it'll change to a
That's
smiley
the
face.
best technical indicator I've ever seen.
That is that's my emotional journey right now. But so we've sort of got an arrow straight sort of move up, and it's the market can stay irrational longer and you can stay solvent. The overall trend is your friend. I mean, these 2 months look particularly bearish in that respect, and I think just tried to let the market tell me what it wants to do rather than trying to guess things. I mean, we all started off trying to trade news, didn't we? And it's like, the NFP is a really high figure. Why is the market going down? The NFP is really low figure. Why is it going up? And you quickly learn that relatively short term that we're talking about here, hours, days. I don't think fundamental considerations are as important, but it's whatever goes into an individual's decision-making pot. For me, it doesn't really interest me, but for others, it may well be important. I mean, I'm fundamentally picked the top of this market here, I can tell you that, but but we'll see. Stop loss. I'm gonna do the amateur thing and move my stop. No, I'm not really. So we'll see what happens, but there may be a shorting opportunity at some point.
Excellent. Okay, Tim, what about you? What are your thoughts on how what's going on will affect the markets?
I think we've already kind of seen it. Taking a look over at the SPY, which is kind of what I use to gauge the overall market. It obviously speaks volume. Just seeing what the news did, to go to bed last night and then to wake up this morning to the news and then see the markets down. Clearly, it creates some volatility here in the U.S. market. So typically that's a really good thing for me, because that's what I'm looking for, is volatility. But there are sometimes where that volatility to the downside creates a lot of people. It creates the emotion, the fear emotion, and a lot of people don't like to participate in that. So that is typically what I'm looking for in the market, is looking for, that euphoria or that fear. But when you have a big news event like that, so a lot of people like to kind of stay away and let the market, like Simon was saying, kind of decide what it's going to do on its own. Yeah. So in a way, it does create volatility, but for me, as the way that I trade, sometimes it's not the right kind of volatility. So I like it, but at the same time, it is very dependent on the overall situation. And with the markets, they were already kind of in, a downtrend. They were starting a downtrend.
Yeah.
And so to have this news come out during that, it just kind of makes a little bit, it's more of a follow the trend type crowd, and it looks to be to the short side at the moment.
Absolutely. Well, our obviously it goes without saying, our thoughts and prayers are with everyone affected, everyone involved.
For sure.